It seems the advocates from the Encampment Support Network are not prepared to give up. After a highly confrontational spectacle at Lamport Stadium Park last Thursday morning, during which the activists clashed with police and charges were laid, they have issued a statement saying in the aftermath of the City of Toronto's brutal assaults on the Lamport Stadium encampment, a series of organizations, in other words, the usual suspects, demand an end to these violent encampment evictions. They demand that all charges laid against activists be dropped and that Mayor John Tory resign immediately. Frankly, this is the first tough stance the mayor has taken against the proliferation of tent cities in several of Toronto's downtown parks: Alexandra Park, Moss Park, Trinity Bellwoods Park, and Lamport Stadium, which was cleared for the second time last Thursday. Well, I went into those encampments repeatedly over the past year. They were anything but safe, as the activists would tell you. Crime was rampant, there was sexual violence, drug dealing, rats and garbage proliferated, and there were fires. Reportedly a 250% increase in fires in 1 year. I even saw a man chopping down a tree to use for firewood. People living near the parks were terrified to use them for fear of being chased by a homeless person or their dog, or for fear of subjecting their kids to sexual acts of drug dealing. Residents living in a condo development south of Alexandra Park were horrified to witness several raging fires, one so out of control they were worried it would spread to their condo building. Luckily, it didn't. They told me of screaming and fights at all hours of the night, so much so they couldn't sleep. Businesses operating near Trinity Bellwoods Park were impacted, and residents living near there were prevented from enjoying the little bit of green space that they had in downtown Toronto during many COVID lockdowns. But for a year, the mayor and council sat on their hands and did nothing, allowing the encampments to grow and multiply, permitting the activists to continue keeping their ponds in unlivable conditions. Yes, the activists, largely from the encampment support and harm reduction networks, have used the tent dwellers as pawns to try to increase the amount of money going into the poverty industry. They have repeatedly insisted that the homeless prefer to live in parks instead of going to a hotel shelter where, get this, they get 3 square meals a day, 2 snacks, TV, Wi-Fi, and harm reduction supports. They have continually insisted the squalid encampments are safer. But aside from the activists, 5 city councillors issued an outrageous letter to the mayor last Friday, contending there should be no more police violence during encampment evictions. The 5 councillors are all defund the police types, and they have enabled the activists to keep the homeless ponds in squalid conditions. It makes you wonder who exactly they're working for. Well, I know the answer. Not us. Kristen Wong-Tam, one of the councillors, went one better. She voted to clear the encampments a few months ago, just after she proposed that the encampment residents get winter survival gear to make it more comfortable to remain in the parks during the cold weather. Can we say opportunistic? If there was ever proof that these councillors are out of touch with the silent majority, this letter is it. Look, I'm horrified when anyone abuses their power, police or politician. But the police did their jobs in Lamport Stadium last Thursday, despite the best efforts by the activists to be obstructive and to stir up trouble. Make no mistake, they came armed with weapons, they were well organized, and they wanted to try to portray the police in the worst light possible. The bottom line in all of this is that the mayor and the police did the right thing clearing these encampments. It was more than time. The average citizen thought they were a blight on the downtown core, and rightly so. The communities surrounding these parks are pleased that they got their parks back, especially during the summer. The only reason the activists are screaming, believe me, is because they no longer have the pawns in our faces that they can use to drive their agenda for more money and more affordable housing. What will they do now? Well, rest assured, they can take solace in the fact that not all parks have been cleared. There are still tent dwellers. Evidently, some have even relocated from the evicted parks to Dufferin Grove Park, also in the downtown core. I hope to visit that encampment soon. I'm told it's growing every day.